Welcome to the Secret Sewing Club. We're in the studio today. It's very exciting. We're not in our little boxes anymore, are we? So today we have a lovely Katrina, who's a pro at Secret Sewing Club.
Absolutely.
At least 3 or 4 times by now. And a new Sue. Yeah. Well, not new Sue.
Well, not new Sue.
New to Sewing Club Sue.
Yes.
But yeah, we've got new Sue as well. So it's all very, very exciting. So I'll first of all do some admin. This is going out on the Craft Yourself Silly page, it's going out on the Secret Sewing Club page, it's also on the Craft Store page. I will do my best to hop between all the questions and comments and get them to the guests as we go. As you will see, we only have 2 today. We usually have 3. Gail's father is in for an operation. It was a planned operation, just been pulled forward by a couple of days. So she's actually going to join us next week. So next week's going to be pretty hectic. So you never buy directly through the Secret Sewing Club. You buy directly from these guys. So when they are demonstrating, there will be a little QR code up in the corner. There'll be one pop up in a second. There'll be a QR code that pops up in the corner, and also their website is along the bottom. So if you see anything you like, please do support the businesses and head there and go and get all of the goodies that you will see here today. But first of all, I will ask Katrina, what have you got? What have you got? What's new? What have you got? What's
I've brought lots of things. I bought a brand new kit.
A brand new
Hazy Summer Days. I showed it a little bit last time, and I finished it, framed it, and it's on the website. It's ready. We're selling them. It's a lovely design to do. So that's my newest thing. That's my newest thing. And then we have other projects. We've got some minis. We've got some a card kit. You know, all things that are fabulous to do. And different things, but they're same stitches.
Excellent, excellent. And Sue, see, you can see all the beautiful examples there, and we've got loads behind me as well,
yes,
which I will get out the way in a minute, and you'll be able to see those. We're not the important bit of this. So, Sue, what have you got? What have you got? What have you got? Because you're new to Secret Sewing. No, look, new Sue.
New. And I've also got my go-to bag, and it's called my go-to because it's the bag I go to. It just gets everything in it. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's very handy. And you can actually put that in a shopping bag and then just hold the handles.
So it's like a Goldilocks bag.
It is, yes.
It's not too big, it's not too small,
it's right. Lovely. And I've got it in fabrics.
Is it that one that's on the counter there?
Yes.
Oh, perfect, 'cause I think, there you go. Chris is on it.
You can also make it in faux leather.
Oh, fancy.
That sounds nice.
And also with the pattern, because the lining obviously is the full size bag, if you wanted to, you could cut out the lining in main fabric as well and therefore get a bigger bag.
Why
not? But you could get, you know, a 2-tone or you could get a single, but it's so easy to make and it's got a zip on the top, so security.
Nothing falling out.
No.
Excellent,
Right.
excellent. Well, what we will do is we will pass over to Katrina. We'll let her get cracking with her demonstrations. I may just randomly pop back in, because usually when we do Secret Sewing Club, I am a voice in the ether, and I just kind of pop in with questions. But I will go and have a look on all of the platforms that we're on, and if we've got any questions, I might just come and scooch up next to you today.
Chat.
Just scooch up and have a chat. But we will hand it over to you, and we'll go and get ready for our bits.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Ready to play. Well, the first design that I've got here is called Water Lily Pool, and I just thought I would just show you the design. This is it finished. So this is the design that is in a range called mini kits. Everything is in the kit for you to actually work the whole project. The hoop here I've just used as a display hoop, so that we do sell the display hoops. It's quite a nice way of framing a piece of work. There are no outlines, so if you wanted to put your work into a square frame, then that's fine. So in the kit, let me just show you what you actually get in a kit. So in the kit, everything is in the kit. So we've got a collection of beads, sequins, just a range, too many. I do tend to put too many in the kit. You've got a couple of pieces of organza. So the organza's great. It's a man-made organza, and it's just used to create a little bit of colour on the fabric. And then, of course, you've got what you're going to stitch on. So this is a tweed fabric. Now, we have this woven for us. It's a beautiful fabric. It's woven in the UK, and it's just the perfect colour for lots of different designs. It's printed on. It's hand screen printed onto the fabric, so you've got a guide. Now there are only a few lines on the fabric, not every line. This is the kind of stitching that you can do. There are no rules. There are no rules to say that you have to complete a certain area. No counting. All the stitching is worked with just a couple of stitches. Now, obviously, when you look at the threads, I mean, we at Rowandean, we've been going a long time, so we've worked out what our customers like. And one of the things is we like the thread card. We like the way you can see the range of colours and the balance of colours. And then if you're neat and tidy, you can put them all back on the hooks afterwards. And we use John James needles. So in your kit, you'll have a chenille needle. So all that is a needle with a large eye. And then we'll have a milliner's 10, which is a bit like a bead needle, but much easier to thread. So you get everything in there, and obviously you get the bead thread ready to stitch. And of course, it is a kit, so we have an instruction sheet. So you've got all the instructions to do the project, ideas and templates and things, all in, and the coloured stitches on the paper. And then, of course, don't forget, you've got the finished design as a guide as well. So all our designs will have an enlarged picture on the front cover, and obviously contact details and everything on there. So this one is called Water Lily Pool. So if I go back to my design, to start with, all I have done to start with is just taken a little bit of the organza, and I've cut the organza, and there are two colours there in your kit. So one's sort of a turquoise colour and then a sort of a plain colour. The two overlaid together just give the effect of water. Now I'm just going to show you where to start. Now I really recommend these hoops. These are brilliant. So they're on our accessory pack. So if you look at featured on our website, you look at www.rowandean.com, then you'll see all the different accessory kits that we think are quite useful. You don't need a lot of equipment really, but you just need, I think these are one of the essentials in our sort of, the way I think is easy to work. So I'm just going to show you how to put that into your work. You put the plastic part on the table, and then you place the fabric, and then you just hold the spring. So as you hold the spring, just release that, and that's going to keep the fabric taut. And obviously the hoop, the actual, where you're holding it, you can move it round and just, if it gets in the way, just turn it round. And it does mean perfectly you can alter the tension. So if you're working and the tension changes, then you can just tighten that just by holding the fabric, and then you're ready to start. So obviously in the instructions, one of the features of this design is the water lilies. Now the water lilies, these are worked in a stranded cotton. I love variegated threads. So the magic just happens as you start to stitch. You don't have to wonder where each stitch is going to go. The magic will just happen. And then obviously a little bit, can't do a little demo without doing a French knot. Have to do a French knot. It's just one of those things. 9 million of those.
This is worse now, isn't it? When I can just randomly hover and sneak in and ask the questions. I do have a couple of questions for you, just quickly. How would you finish the back off? So I know you'll come to that a little bit later. And I've got another lady asking, do you do any cross-stitch kits, or was it purely embroidery?
It's just freestyle embroidery. But once you've got the hoop, I mean, it's just a clip that goes over the fabrics, and then I think later on I might show everybody how to lace it onto the
perfect
onto the board. But then I've just covered covered all the bit at the back.
Hide
just with it.
the
Hide all of that.
Hide the
and it doesn't
workings.
matter what you use, where any fabric will do.
Perfect.
All
Okay.
right, so-
well, I shall allow you to kind of add that into the demonstrations later.
Yeah,
And
but-
I shall sneak off again. And then just, it's weird, isn't it? Because I
I
kind
know,
of hover
I
over
know.
you.
That's right. That's great. It's great.
It's all good though. It's all
Okay,
good.
so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how to do one of the water lilies. Okay, now sometimes whether to knot the fabric or not, how you start, I would knot the fabric, and I'm just going to start off with a couple of stitches that are going to go various angles, and I'm going to go over the print. You don't want to actually see the print. You're just going to go over the print, and the magic happens, really. And this kind of craft is really relaxing to do, so that there's no stress. We're doing this to relax. It doesn't have to be perfect stitching. Just enjoy the colour. I think that's what's special about this kind of stitching. It's very colourful. It makes you feel good. It's not difficult to do. And if you look on the featured page on the website, you can see descriptions of what's actually in your kit. But basically, you get everything to complete the project. So I'm just going to work that thread through, and you'll see the colour change happening. And I've got 3 strands, so if the thread needs to be thinner, it will tell you in the instructions and suggest what you do. So that's just going to give a great colour, and you work all the way around just to keep that shape of the leaf there. And now when you want to fasten off, as the thread reduces and you've got about 5 centimetres left, then you just take the thread to the back, just reverse that, and then you're just going to take a couple of stitches just to go a couple of times around, and that's enough to hold that in place, and then cut those off with your scissors. There we are. I usually bury those on.
I know. That's
Buried.
right. That's how it works. That's how
Buried
it works.
at all.
We've got loads and loads of hellos. We've got so many. There are a couple on YouTube as well. There's Helen and Leslie on YouTube. And I'm just trying to find all the rest of them because we have just loads of people who are joining us, which is brilliant.
Great.
And just a reminder, if you do want any of the lovely Rowandean kits, if you have a look just along the bottom there, that's their website, head straight to there. Or if you're watching on your big telly through YouTube, on your big telly, so the big lights, isn't it? If you're watching on your big telly on YouTube, then there's a QR code up in that corner. You never know, do you?
I know, yeah.
It's always back to front and upside down. There's a QR code in the corner. If you just scan that with your phone, it will take you directly to your website. There
That's
you go.
great.
Thank you.
That's
My job is
great.
complete.
Okay,
Crack on.
we'll do the next bit. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bit of the thread and one of these different colours off here, and I'm just going to take the thread, and I'm just using the full 6 strands here. I think I'm just going to squash that thread through there. So it's easy to place the sort of folded edge of the thread through there, and that's just going to be much easier to thread. And I'm just going to put a knot. So this is my favourite. I think this is my favourite stitch ever, I think. This is a French knot. So I'm going to add a couple of French knots just on the edge here. There are printed dots as a guide. So easier when you work in this spring hoop. You're just going to hold the thread, and you're just going to go around once, twice, and then place the needle, not exactly the same hole, just one thread over, and then you're just going to let that thread travel in on its own. And there you go, you've got the French knot. So it's just twice round the needle, or once. If you want to do a larger French knot, then make the thread thicker. So you'll just get those, and you're going to build a cluster of those all the way in that area. Okay, so if I go back to the actual picture, you'll see on the actual picture, you can build up an area of dense stitching. So we've got the French knots there, we've got other smaller French knots here, and then we've got an area where it was almost like crusty stitching, you know, lots of texture. And this kind of stitching is, if you want to make that area bigger, you want to add a little bit of the water there, you can do. You can really personalise this and just create that little water lily pool. So it's very, very easy to do, and you'll have loads and loads of thread to do the leaves, to do the flowers. And I think the thing is, just enjoy the whole project. So I'm just going to move on to the next one.
Just before you do, I've got another question. This is from Sarah Jane Kennedy. Do you just do the printed panels, or are they full kits?
They're full kits.
Full kits.
They're full kits.
Perfect.
You get everything that you need to complete that project. So you
Brilliant.
get beads, so if it's got beads in, and organzas, and you've got the threads.
Perfect.
And
Excellent.
you get loads. You get a bit
Yes,
extra.
I know. They're
And
very generous, aren't they?
Because sometimes
Much to Ted's
a bit, yeah,
disgust.
no, but a bit falls down the chair, or you know, the cat's got a little bit, you know. So there's always extras if you get carried, because that's what it's like, isn't it? You get carried away with a project, and you think, I'll just do a few more French knots.
Yeah, but
you
if you've got the
stop.
extras, then there's
So
nothing stopping you kind of taking the inspiration from that one and then making a second one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
People do.
Yeah, I shall be back with more questions.
Okay, I'm just
I
going to
quite
show
like
the
this.
next
You
one.
just kind of zip in. Bye-bye. Okay.
Well, we're going to have a look at the next
At
one.
least I did it in between demos rather than
That's
crashing
good.
in the middle of
That's
it
good.
this time.
I'm just going to reach across and get the next design. So this design here, I'm just getting that the right way around for me. So this is a new design, brand new design. Yeah, really brand new. It's on our website. I think last time we were on Secret Sewing Club, I hadn't quite finished it, but I've finished it and I'm really, really pleased with it. So I'm just going to show you, obviously before we get to the actual picture. This is what you get in your kit. So you get a large selection of threads. So some of the threads that you'll get are from the Shetlands. They're wool, so 4-ply wool, gorgeous colour mixes, variegated threads, a little bit of sparkle. You can't go, you know, bit of sparkle's great, and you get the threads for the bead and all the sequins, etc. So as you take your kit out, you've got those all on the thread card. You can you can see where they are, and in the instructions it will refer to how many strands, etc. And then the nice bit, you're just actually getting the fabric. So you've got a collection of beads, so that if I just put these into this little container, then you've got a whole load of sparkle. So we've got sequins, we've got a mix of beads. They're a good quality bead. You've got some bugles there, lots of sparkle to play with, several butterflies, etc. So you can use as many or as few as you wish in this design. And then obviously we've got the organzas here. So these organzas are just used to create the background. And then if I take the fabric, you'll see that the fabric's quite big. Obviously we've got the print on the tweed again. And the first thing that you will do, there is a picture of the instructions, you're just going to overlay the organzas onto the fabric and pin those on. They're just going to create a sort of misty area on the design. And you don't have to, there is a picture, but really you just arrange those how you like. You'll get new colours when you overlap the different colours, and they're going to be pinned on. So pinning those on, we've got the flower head pins. So these are on the website as well. So it's a long pin, it'll hold the organzas great, and you're just going to pin those on ready to start stitching. Probably would tack that in place with a temporary stitch that will come out later. So you're just going to put those over the fabric, and you don't have to be too particular about where they're going. You're just going to pin those on, and then that's going to be made them secure. So once you've got those on, then you're ready to start to play. But in the instructions, you will find that you've got step-by-step instructions where to put the organzas, and there is a plan. Whether it doesn't matter if you don't follow it, but there is a bit of a plan. And the idea for this design is that you're going to do all the sort of flowers, textures, bees, butterflies. You're going to do all the textures, and then you're going to fill in around with the grasses there. So it is an easy kit to do. And there's something quite special about the drama of the threads and the colours. So you'll work through the daisies, the loose stripe there with detached chain. You'll work through all of those, some long-legged French knots. There are videos on our YouTube channel if you want to see the stitches, but you can watch things back and have a look. But they're all basically very easy stitches to do, and I think you'll enjoy doing this. Now I've stretched it, all the organza, I've held it on around the edge with a couple of French knots, and then I've just, for the moment, I've just put it on a board, and I've actually just drawing pinned that on, and eventually I'll staple gun that in place. So it's just on an art canvas. Obviously the way you frame your work can be however way you're going to actually place it or whatever. So these are, you know, it's a nice way of framing something. It's a reasonable price rather than going to a framer. You can do that all yourself. So I'm just going to take a little bit back here. That'd be great.
Sort of help out a bit.
I'm just
I'll be honest, right? We couldn't find the keys to get into where we needed to be into. In fact, let everybody in through the fire exit. And I was probably personally about an hour and a half behind in my prep, so I'm busy frantically trying to do that when I probably should be helping you.
I'm going to say thank you, because it's been very easy for us. It's been very easy, you see. You've done all the hard work, you see.
It's much easier doing it in your pyjamas at home. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I do quite enjoy doing it from home in pyjamas. And then when you're finished, there's no drive. You just off. Next door.
I know.
Done.
I know. But
so is this starting right from the beginning? So,
this
it's out of the box.
This is out of the box. It's you're going to pin the organzas on there.
And I'm guessing
I would probably temporarily stitch it.
There's kind of no right and wrong.
No, I mean
this,
there is
so
a picture.
Yes, you can have
and
blue
you can
in the sky.
you can do blue. You can mix them up. You can just play around with the colours really, and it's just to give. I suppose it's like a watercolour effect in the distance.
Okay.
So you're going you know, we are using quite a mixture of threads there. So you know, it almost acts as a bit of a stabiliser as well.
Right.
But you know, it means you don't have to stitch the whole thing. You do you know what I mean? You can leave gaps.
I've had enough now.
I've done enough. I've done enough French knots. So you'll be able to definitely, you know, there is a print on the fabric, so you'll be able to gauge the size of the stitch just as a starting point. And then, because that's what some people would worry about when you first, how do I know what size to do the stitch? Well, there'll be in the instructions, it'll tell you an area to work to, and then you'll go through that. And basically you're going to stitch over the print.
So this is the one that you showed us
Last time, yeah,
okay.
Last time.
So if, because this is quite a big one, if you wanted to make this into, say, a notebook cover,
yes,
or
perfect.
maybe the front of a bag might be a bit more challenging because you've got some quite kind of big loopy.
But you could always couch those down.
You can always, you could absolutely just couch those down. But if you wanted to make that into something,
you could definitely do that.
Because this one's definitely big enough.
Definitely do that. I mean, it's a really large piece of fabric, so you could either do it as a panel for a cushion, but it definitely would make a book cover or a journal, textile journal. If you know, it would make
absolutely.
an A4 size.
Obviously, you've put this one on top of a canvas, so you can't see the stitches on the back of this one. Yeah. But if you were going to use that on as we said, you know, sew it into another project that was going to be a practical project, which was going to be used, would you advise putting something on the back of it?
I think so, if you're going to a calico or
interfacing or something to stick
something,
the...
something. I would just probably use a calico. I would probably not want it to. I like the subtlety of the wool. I'd like it being a little bit to move, even though it's gone on a book cover.
Yes.
I think you could have a go, and you've got a little bit of leeway in that you could test it out what suits for the project.
Yeah, so maybe on
a little piece of
on a little corner,
little corner, have a go.
Maybe just try a couple of different things
but
as to.
I've just done it with a piece of calico behind, loose, not. But
all I was thinking with maybe a fusible interfacing or something is just to secure all those kind of knots or threads that are on the back.
It should be okay. The back, it'll be fine if you've either started.
I mean, you've got all these as beautiful kind of display pieces, but if you were of the mindset that you wanted something more, say, usable and like a practical piece that you could have with you all the time, then
you can do it definitely. I mean, we've got book covers on our website and different combinations, and they're done with 6 different designs, like the cards.
Yeah,
and then the fabric's included, and you can make your own.
Well,
but you can
even those
secure. You can secure the fabric. If it was on organza, and I don't think if it's going to be a working thing, I don't think it matters that it might fray a little bit. You don't want to machine it, or I wouldn't want to machine it or leave it.
It's going to move and it's going to fray a little bit. And
yes,
that's the beauty
part
of it.
The beauty of it, really.
Perfect. Thanks. Sue's next, but she's wandered off, so this is what it's just the same, isn't it? It's just the same, but different.
Okay, it's the same.
It's the
We're
same.
Working it out. We're working it out.
We're fine. This is. I mean, we did get a lot of comments when we said we were going to go into the studio. There was a lot of comments saying, "Oh, please don't lose the chaos." I think we've fulfilled that brief.
That's what we're like. We're like. That is a bit like what we're all like.
We've got nobody to stop us. That's the problem.
I know. Well, I'll just show this until Sue comes back.
This is what happens when we're online, you see, because we don't have to be here all of the time. Ted is wrangling Sue. It's fine.
Oh, that's funny.
We're not physically on screen all the time. Then we do. We go off, we make cups of tea, we put the washing on, we come back, we do the next kind of 20 minutes. But Sue has been wrangled and Sue is back.
She's back.
It's all right. Do you want to keep that for next time?
Yeah, I'll keep it for next time.
Sue, are you ready, my love?
Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent. Well, we're coming to you.
Right, okay.
And what I will do is I'll just randomly float in with questions from the internet. That's what I do.
Lovely.
I randomly float across.
Okay, you can float quite easily.
Okay, I shall do my best.
Right. Okay.
She's gone. She's back. No, we're back. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Actually, she's ready.
Right. I'm Sue from Design and Sew. My
your camera too, my love.
Oh,
there you go.
Yes, it does help. I'm Sue from Design and Sew. I've been sewing for 55, 60 years. I design patterns as well. So everything you buy is designed by me. It's not another pattern, it's a fresh pattern. Now, if you go for the website is designandsew.co.uk. Every pattern that you buy or kit always has my contact details, and that's email address, phone number. So I'm always available. Well, not between 10 at night and 6 in the morning, but I am available for questions. What I don't want is people to get stuck, and then it just becomes goat in a box. So what we've got today new, this is my go-to bag. And it's called a go-to because literally I go to it all the time. I get charger, phone, large purse, glasses, and a few other bits in it. But what I like about it, you can use it at any time, day or night. And if you're going out shopping, you can actually just pop that in the top of your shopping bag and hold it. But because it's got a zip, everything's secure. Now, the kit itself, which gives you everything, it gives you wadding, lining, zip, cork, and the main fabric. You've got 3 choices. and that sells at $22.99. If you just want to buy the pattern only is $9.99. Then we've got new, and these are new, literally. I only designed them like 10 days ago. And then you've got the two-tone pouch. Now, I actually use one of these of an evening because I can just put my phone in it, my keys, my lippy, and that's it. And there again, you get the lining, the wadding, the main fabric, the cork and the zip. And every pattern is full size, so you haven't got to worry about enlarging it. You get that. And the two-tone pouch comes in at $16.99, so it's $22.99 and $16.99. However, the pattern only is $6.99. And there is no charge for postage. There is an offer on at the moment where free postage. You will see other items on. One thing is the quilter's pouch. So if you're a quilter, you'll see concertinas, and inside you've got 3 large pockets and 2 smaller ones. So if you've got the smaller templates, they will go in there quite nicely. Also, sew on the go. Put your English EPP in there, take it with you. It's all in one neat package. And there again, that is the pattern only, and that pattern is $9.99. So there's quite a few things that you can see. And now, what I'm going to demonstrate is the coin purse. It's a zipped top with a little pocket at the front. So I'm going to show you how to make this, and the pattern is $6.99. I will be loading some kits on either later today or first thing in the morning, and the kits will be, excuse me, $11.99. So what we'll do, let's crack on and I'll show you how to make it. It's very easy. First time I would think, excuse me, will probably take you about 40 minutes, 45. So it consists of various pieces. Now, you'll get one large piece that you'll cut out, and that is literally the pocket. So you fold it in half, press it, which I've just done, and then what we'll do, let me just get the treadle the right way round. Now I always like, it's quite funny because it's Jenny Raymond that calls this a donkey, but it does help when you're sewing. So you just fold it over and then straight stitch right across. You'll then just press it, and you're doing that for 2 reasons. A, because you're going to seal the stitching, and that's quite, for those that are new, you seal stitching so the cotton itself gets into the cotton fabric. So we'll just have a quick iron of that. Then what you need a front piece. Now you've already attached the interfacing to the back. You only put interfacing on the pocket and on the one side of the top. So position it and then line it up. It's so quick and easy. And my angel policy is you can make as many as you like. And I can tell you that at craft fairs they sell extremely well. And then line the other side up. Let's just reach the pins. Find the centre. Now the easiest way really is just to fold that and the pocket itself. Then just line those 2 up, form a pleat, and all you do then, you just press it down. So you're just forming a little pleat. Then just press that pleat open. Let's just get it there. That's it. So you'll just press that. Press quite firmly. And what I tend to do, I just put a little holding stitch in the bottom. Just so that pleat stays there. And I put a little holding stitch at the top of the on each side. Take the pin out. As I said, it takes about 40 minutes, the first one you make. And just pop that on the side. Just give it a press just to make sure, where's the iron? That it is all nice and firm. Right. Then we need to make the flap. Now, you've already put the interfacing on one side, so you've got right sides together. And what I'm going to do is just stitch round that edge. So, a narrow stitch around the edge. Now, you can either use pinking shears to cut round, or if not, what you do is you cut in little V's. So you go in, turn and back. So it's in, turn and back. If I put that by my hand, you might just see the little V. But if you've got pinking shears, it's so much easier. Just go all around the outside edge. Hello.
Hello, I've come to hover with a couple of questions.
Okay.
Is the pleat that you've just put in there, is it a box pleat? I'm getting asked. That's from Rosemary.
It's just literally, it is a box pleat. It's just a little pleat that just, if the camera can get in, you'll just see.
Chris can get in, man. He's good.
Yeah.
He's a good lad.
So it's just a little box pleat. So that was that
That's
one.
right. I'm just checking for other questions. Bear with me,
right,
and
okay.
then I'll run away again.
All right.
Yeah, you just get like in visitation. I just pop in and then disappear.
And then
again.
disappear.
Yes. So let me just quickly check if there's any more. I think there was another one on the craft store page, but we're hopping about between the two.
Okay.
Do the patterns come as measured pieces, or are there templates in there?
It's all printed on a printed pattern. Let me just find one so I can show you. They're all.
Is that one
if
there?
I wasn't looking for it,
Is that
there
one?
it
Oh,
is.
there it is. She's got it. Don't panic. We found
the
it.
pattern itself, and it's full size. All my patterns are full size. You do not have to enlarge.
Perfect.
So what you'll get is that.
Right, so everything's right size
there,
and everything's got
right
the seam
size.
allowance included.
Yes, everything's
Perfect.
there.
Hold it
Tells
still.
you what to cut out. And what I do suggest is transfer it with your greaseproof paper or something, stick it onto a piece of cardboard,
Yeah.
and then you've got a firm one that you can literally just lay down and just trace round.
I don't know if it's on our website, but we've got some rip-proof paper.
Yes.
Which is brilliant, because if you've got templates like this, you can transfer them onto that rip-proof
that's it.
paper, and then you've got a permanent one. You can pin into it, all sorts, but it will not tear.
That way then, your original pattern is staying nice and neat and tidy.
Perfect. Okay, that was all for now.
Okay,
I shall
I'll
see you
crack
later.
on.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. Yes, I've actually got a perspex cut out on the pattern. So let's go back. So we've done that. I've just trimmed it with pinking shears for speed. Turn it right side out. Poke it all out. I mean, these sell like hot potatoes at craft fairs. Oh. So just make that nice and firm. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to top stitch around the edge. It's only a narrow seam, so, and with top stitching, I do like to increase the stitch. So I'm doing a 2.6. That's what it is on my machine. I mean, what you can do is you could use a contrast thread as well. That always looks nice, particularly if you've got a plain. So we'll just nip the edge off, snip that one, and then you've got the centre point. Find the centre point on the flap and attach that over. Just put the pins back in and just pin it into place, making sure I don't go through the iron. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to baste that. Now, for those that don't know what basting is, it's basically a large sewing stitch. So, what's that? 5 on my machine. So just literally baste the top, and that's it. It's just so that it stays firm. I better take that back down, otherwise we'll be having extra fun. So now, the zip. You don't need to hold that anymore. Zip. So, on the top, right side facing, pop the zip. Now, I know some people like to actually just stitch that now, rather than put the piece of lining on, because basically what you do is you sandwich the zip between two right sides of the fabric, making sure that the zip is facing down. So we'll pop that on there, just move those pins, and then we'll just sew along the top. As I said, it comes together so quickly. Would help if I put the zipper foot on. Well, I would. Ah, there it is. Oh.
So if you haven't got, I know you're finding
If you
that
haven't got a zipper
you haven't
foot,
got a zipper foot, but just in case.
Yeah.
What's your other options?
Well, you can, because it's a small project, you could sew it. But if not, you can stitch along there. Now, I'm fortunate, because my machine, I can move the needle over.
Yeah, that's
in which case, I'll just move the needle over.
So you're going to move it all the way over to one
Move
side.
it all the way over to the left-hand side, nearest the zip. And then you can just sew down there. I shall have to find the zipper foot. If not, I'll be buying a new one. So now that's just done with zipper foot. So you fold it back and press it. Just fold it back and press it. And then what you do is you stitch along there. So you're actually stitching the lining to the seam that you've done and the tape. And basically that is so that when you're opening the zip, it's not going to get caught in the lining. I'm just going to move the needle onto the other side to make it easy. So, oops, get the right stitch length, and then literally just sew across. So what you end up with is that. So you've got the zip facing down, and you've got the lining which is stitched into place so that as the purse itself here, you don't get the lining keep coming out. It's secure in the lining. So now what we need to do, let's just press that out the way. Now we've got to attach the other side. So again, fabric down, zip, and lining. Where did I put the other piece of lining? Well, it was here. Oh. Sorry? Left your phone?
Have I left? Oh, you're right.
Yep, it's all right. I'll just grab a piece of lining from something else. It's obviously just floated away somewhere. Fortunately, I've got another piece with me. So let's just... Oh, it's attached to the back after all that. I thought it was strange that I hadn't got it. There it is. So again, face down with the lining, and then we'll just stitch that into place again. Once you've made one, I guarantee you will make more. I mean, the first one is obviously going to take you a little bit longer because you'll be reading the pattern as well. So just sew the zip in. Again, let's just press that back. And again, I'm just going to stitch on top. I mean, I've done it before where I hadn't stitched the lining to the zip. And what happens, the lining just constantly gets caught in the zip. So what you'll end up with, I've just stitched that the wrong way. Unpick it. That's my fault. I wasn't paying attention.
You're unpicking. Am I all right to pop back in with a couple of questions?
Yes, of course you are.
Splendid.
I need to just pop my glasses on.
For my questions or for the unpicking?
No, for the unpicking.
Yeah, that's the only thing sometimes.
But at least you can see, you know.
That's the beauty of working with fabric. If you do get it
Yes.
wrong, you do have the opportunity to unpick it and redo it. So let me just get into the questions. Whoops, there we go. Right, so I've asked the one about the templates.
Yes.
Haven't I? Yep, okay. Now, about how much fabric does it take to make one of these?
Fat quarter.
Fat quarter?
Yes, fat
so
quarter.
would you get, I mean, obviously, perhaps you want the lining different to the right side.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
So if you had two fat quarters,
If you had
could
two
make
fat quarters,
two.
you'd make two quite
Perfect.
easily. Because let's just have a look here. I mean, if I lay the pattern, you can see on here.
Do you want me to unpick while you're showing that?
Yeah, go on.
And then that.
Thank you. Oh,
It's
it's like having an assistant. I could do this all the time. So,
I'm very expensive. Very busy.
what
so
you
very
would do
expensive.
when you're laying out, if that is a fat quarter is bigger than that, but even then, you just lay that to the edge, and you can get two of those out of the fat quarter because it's 50 centimetres. This, of course, is only 40, so you know you will get it out. And then you just lay, you easily get it out of a fat quarter. Now, remember...
Penny's just asked a question. She's just been out to pick somebody up. She's picked up her son. She wants to know, what are we making?
We're making the coin purse,
Which
which
I am...
is this.
I'm just coming to
So
assist.
you've got a pocket here, and you can either put a press stud or a snap fastener on it.
I love the cam snaps.
I know.
Once you get the hang of them, they're brilliant.
That's right, yes. And then you've got a zipped pocket. So it's quite a handy size. It's, you know, it's bigger than the normal little purses that you get. It's what? Inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, just over 5 by just under 4. If you're in centimetres, then it's 14 by 10, and that's the finished size. As I said, they would take about 40 minutes, 45 minutes the first one, because you are reading the pattern at the same time. Remember that when you're doing the lining, the only lining piece you cut out
You need to look at number 2, Sue.
is the main purse. You don't cut that out because that's your pocket on the front. So you know it's you'd make quite a few.
Assistant finished.
Oh, thank
I shall
you.
go away with my questions. I'll come back another day. Bye.
Which bit have you unpicked?
The bit you told me to unpick. I had a panic there that I'd unpicked the wrong bit.
No, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
phew.
No,
It's all fine.
We've
Panic
still
over.
got the zip.
Yeah, your zip should be in.
Yeah.
Did you want the zip out as well?
It's all right. I can do it the quick and easy way. I'll put my glasses on.
Which
So I
bit did
never
you
used to
want
wear
out?
glasses, and then I had a cataract operation, and as a result of it, I don't need to wear glasses only for reading now.
Okay.
Great, saves me a fortune on spectacles.
Do you want to show people some of your other products and show me which line you need out?
This one.
That one there.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
got
okay.
it.
So,
I'll just
oh,
be your
this is
assistant.
great. So what we've got as well is the insulated bag.
Yeah, you're on number 2 in the
Now-
middle there.
These are great for going days out, holidays, because you've got the Insta-Bright that you sew inside when you're making it all up. Your bottle goes in the middle, and you've got your toggle. Now you can adjust. You can have the strap whatever length you like. You can either have it so it goes on your shoulder. You could shorten the strap so it's hand. I mean, I've sold no end of these because the ones you see are always grotty. Now, what you could do, you could also use ripstock. Now, that fabric is a very, very lightweight showerproof, and that's great because what you could do, you'd have your main fabric, your Insta-Bright, and then your ripstock. So you'd keep it cool, but your ripstock would keep it dry as well. If you've got a frozen bottle, which is what we tend to do, put the cold drink into the freezer, take it out and drop it in. As that's thawing out, it's not going through anywhere else because it's staying within the ripstock. And it's superb. You can get it in a variety of colours. You can get it striped, patterned. And I think it comes, I think it's a 60-inch wide fabric. So you'd make quite a lot.
I think it is because I think we've got a camo version on
But
our website
it's
somewhere.
super. I mean, you can use ripstock to make any, I'm not going to say waterproof because you can't guarantee, but it's showerproof. So makeup bags, ripstock lining. You know, it's a super product, and as I said, variety of colours. I mean, you'll see on my website a pattern for a bucket hat. Now, I've actually made the bucket hat for some fishermen friends, and I've used the green camouflage ripstock.
Yeah, that's I think what
And it's great, and I've just lined it with an ordinary
like a cotton. Yeah.
so that you know the head isn't getting too hot. But it's a super product. I'd recommend it to any.
That's all done for you.
Oh, lovely.
So you are good to go.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
shall
you to my
disappear once
assistant.
again. No problem.
Yeah. Well, I was more interested. Look, so right side to the zip. In there, lining fabric. Oh, I better just iron that again because where I ironed it. Now, you'll think, well, it's only a little bit, but that makes a difference. That makes a difference when you're matching it all up. So, right side zip, lining. Do you know what? I can honestly say I've never ever done that before. And then just double check that you've got two right sides together. But as they say, there's a first time for everything. So, again, we'll sew the zip in. Let's just make sure it's lined up. As I said, I will be loading kits onto the website tomorrow. I just ran out of time. But, you know, a fat quarter is more than enough. And I know we've all got the odd fat quarters that, when we've, oh, they're great. Oh, I'll get one of those. And then we don't use it straight away. So it goes in a box with all the others. Press that open. Top stitch. Oh, I've got a bit of cotton. And that's it. So now you can see we've got, that's what it will look like. You've got the front with the flap and the back, and then you've got the lining. So now what you do, there is a little tip. If you just put a stitch, just a little stitch in the top of the zip to hold it, that's really useful. So right, we undo the zip and we fold it right side to right side. Put a pin in there. So you've got the two right sides of the fabric and you've got the two right sides of the lining together. And just make sure that your seams are nice and even on that side. And then what you can do, you can actually just trim off the excess. Oh, I'll show you the pouch as well. You can just go down, trim off the excess. And then what we need to do now is sew round, but leave a gap for turning in the lining. I tend to sew about an inch. So pick it up about an inch or 2 centimetres, whichever you prefer. Hang on, I've still got the wrong position needle. So we'll go round. That's taken, I took my foot off the pedal. So right, then we'll go back down this side. Now just remember where the zip is. The little metal bits on your zip. Because what you don't want is sew through those and end up with broken needles. Go around the outside, down to the bottom. Again, just find out where the zip, the little metal end is. I mean, if you want to, you can mark that before you actually do the sewing, but it just means you've got to take another pin out. Right, that's that. Take all the pins out. Trim the corners. Now, what I do, a lot of people just do a straight cross. I like to do a little bit more just to make sure, because what you're doing is you're removing bulk. So you just literally go in at an angle and then the same there. So this is what you end up with. Now, don't forget to do the same on the lining, although the lining isn't so bulky because it hasn't got an interfacing on. Got another question?
No, I'm just coming because I can see you're kind of nearly finished.
Yeah, we're done.
Oh,
all we've got to do,
I was just coming because you were nearly finished.
yeah, is turn it right side out. Now, you can either use a pokey tool or,
What we tell everybody not to do, which is poke it out with your scissors.
yeah, use your thumb
We all
or
do it.
wiggle it. And if you wiggle right at the end, just wiggle that, the corner will come out. Look, you just wiggle it and the corner will come out. And that's it.
Special wiggle. There you
Yeah,
go.
wiggle it. And then all you've got to do is sew up the gap in the lining, put the lining inside, and either put your cam snap or your press stud, whichever, and that is your little purse.
So your snap or press stud,
Yeah.
that's just going
It goes-
just going into this bit.
That's right.
It's not going all the way through, is it?
Is I just mark, you can either do it with a pin, just mark where you want it, and then if your purse is nice and flat, if you just push it, you'll see, well, I've bent the needle. You'll
Always
see
the way.
where the pin goes through. So you then get another pin and you can mark it so you know exactly where your popper's got to go, where your cam snap. Now when you do that, open it out and then sew your press stud in or put your cam snap in.
If you wanted to put a button on,
Yes,
a
you
buttonhole, is that an option?
You
So a lot
can
of people-
do. You just make your buttonhole in the top here.
Yeah,
And then obviously you've got the mark where your button's going to go.
perfect.
But, you know, that's it finished. And that's the same size.
Perfect,
that was lovely.
perfect. What we're going to do now is I'm going to quickly run over to the other side because for once, because I don't have to press all the buttons, I do have a chance to actually do some demonstration, which never usually happens.
Oh, right. So
I
you're
know.
going to do some
So
demos.
I'm going to do a little bit, and then we will jump back to Katrina, who I believe has more kits and is going to show you how to. Somebody did ask about how to finish them off on the back.
Yes, yeah.
So she's going to do that
Yeah.
as well. I am not going to run because I've been told I'm not allowed to.
No,
run.
you're not allowed
I'm
to
going
run.
to walk.
You have to walk.
At a kind of slow pace around the obstacle course.
Yes.
Around the obstacle course and over to here. So today, one of the things that when you know Hochanda and Create and Craft were around, this is one of the things that we used to bring quite regularly, a couple of times a year, because it's just an absolute belter of a deal, and it just expands. It's about having the right tool for the right job. It's about if you've got a sewing machine and you want to be able to do more, then this is the kind of set for you. So this is 32 different sewing machine feet. We've always had brilliant machines, both on Hochanda, Create and Craft, Sewing Street, all of it. Brilliant machines. But maybe you aren't in a position to upgrade your machine at the minute because they are very, very pricey. Even kind of entry-level machines now, decent ones are a couple of £100. So if you're thinking, well, I can't afford that, but I want to be able to do, I want to expand what I want to be able to do, then this is a great option. There's 32 different feet in here, and there are some which are decorative, there are some which are practical, there are a good kind of mixture within there. So I will have a little look from the side and see if I can kind of explain some of these. So two at the top here, the Teflon and the roller foot. Those are for more specialist kind of fabrics. So the Teflon and the roller, brilliant for sticky things. So if you're doing PVC, maybe you're doing leather, they are brilliant feet to be able to do that. So I've got a little sample here, which has used a decorative stitch on leather, and that's been done with that roller foot. Because what the roller foot does is it's got a little roller on, so it's almost like using a walking foot. So it kind of just glides over the top of the fabric rather than digging into it, and that's perfect for things like leather. So the next row that we've got down, we've got a 3-inch and a 6-inch rolled hem foot. They are little feet. You've got a little kind of curve on it, little kind of curl on the top of it. And what that does is you feed the fabric in through that little curve and it creates that double rolled effect. So I've got examples of all of these in this pile. I was just ironing some of them because some of them were pretty squashed because they'd been in the bag for a little while. There you go. There's a little tiny double rolled hem. So if I just hold that little bit there for you, because then you can get quite close in. So those really, really fine double rolled hems, that's what you're going to use those 3mm and 6mm double rolled hem feet for. Then what have we got next? Should we go across? Let's go across. So then you've got these ones that look a little bit scarier because they're a bit bigger, a bit more involved. So the knit foot, that's if you're using knitted fabrics like jerseys and things like that. It's got a little grippy bit, that little blue bit that's in the centre of it. That's a little kind of grippy bit, and that will almost act like a walking foot, pulling that fabric through. You've got the darning foot and the free motion foot. They will basically just allow the fabric to move underneath the foot for you. So if you're wanting to do free motion designs, I don't think I've got, oh, I have a little bit actually on there. So the hair on this lady was done with a free motion foot. So that just allows you to kind of move it around. If your fabric is just like this, just like a cotton with a lightweight stabilizer on the back, a tearaway stabilizer, then probably the embroidery foot is the one to go for, the free motion foot. If your fabric is a little bit thicker, then I would go for the darning foot on that. So really it depends on the thickness of your fabric for that one. Then I should have given this to Sue before. Got a zipper foot.
Yeah. I've lost it, so...
it's fine, I'm sure we'll find it. So you have a universal zipper foot, and that is adjustable, so it can go either side, and you can, sew from... So if you can't move your needle to the left or to the right, then this is a really good alternative for that. You've got the binding foot. I think this looks like the scariest one in there, but it is one of the most useful. So this one will allow you to pop binding either side of a piece of fabric, and then one stitch down there will do both front and back at the same time, because that binding foot has got a kind of a C-shaped clamp to it, and that's going to hold your binding in the right place, allow you to put your fabric in the centre, and then your stitch is perfectly lined up to catch both sides of the edges of those bindings in one go. So I've got a couple of different examples of this because it's one we did quite regularly. Oh, it's the same green. Let me see. Oh, I've got a white one over here, white one and a black one. So either if you're making your own binding, you're using bias binding, all works the same. And I think you can go up to about 20 millimetres on that one. So it is, you can get a reasonable size in there as well. Then we have the blind hem foot and the open toe foot. So the blind hem foot one is what you're going to use if you have a fabric. So think about the bottoms of curtains, think about the bottoms of trousers and skirts, where you don't want to see that there's a stitch line across. You can see where it's been pressed flat there, but can you see just those odd little black lines coming down? Now, I've exaggerated them. I've done it in black because we want you to be able to see it. But if you do that in a coordinating thread, like I've got the purple one here, there you go. That one, you'll barely be able to see. If I just wiggle it, you might just see the little stitches in that. So you've got purple fabric, but you've got a little blue thread in there. And if you have a look on the back, that's what you've got on the back. You've got a complete hem there, but on the front, all you're going to see are those little stitches. And that blind hem foot is going to allow you to line all that up. There'll be a stitch on your machine. It's on just about every machine that will allow you to do that and create those almost invisible hems. So should we come back down the other side? You've got a 9-hole and a 5-hole pin tuck there. So pin tucks are... that one I definitely didn't iron. There it is. So that's what you'll get from the pin tucks. The pin tucks, really, really nice decorative stitch. You can either use it functionally because it does create kind of almost a little bit of stretch within a fabric, but it's also quite decorative, especially if you want a kind of really solid crease that you want to keep really sharp, then the pin tuck foot's a really nice one for that. You only put in one at a time, but then by using the foot, it automatically spaces it for you. So if you wanted to put loads in, you could get a really nice even spacing. If you are going to do lots, just remember that every time you do one, it kind of shrinks your fabric in, because I don't know if you can see, maybe if I put it on its end like that, you can see it creates little kind of channels. Let's see if I just raise it up there. Whoop. Yeah, you can kind of see it's got little kind of raised bits all the way along. So those pin tucks do kind of shrink a fabric in. So if you're wanting to do it as a decorative thing, start off with something much bigger than you need and then cut it down to the size that you need it for that one. What else we got next? The invisible zip foot. So the difference between a zip and an invisible zip is the teeth, basically. The teeth and the slider will be face up if it's a regular zip. The slider will be face up, but the teeth will be underneath if it's an invisible zip. And that is a brilliant foot because it allows you to get really, really close to the edge of those teeth to be able to sew in an invisible zip. Then we've got the edge joining foot. So that one has, it's got a little kind of guide in the centre of that one. That one, brilliant for if you're quilting, if you're doing stitch in the ditch. That one's a really good guide for that. Then the next one I've got is the straight. So all these next kind of few are all in the kind of quilting arena. So you've got your straight stitch foot there. That's got a really tiny hole in the centre. It's going to put pressure all the way around your fabric. So you get a really nice flat straight stitch one. The stitch guide foot was effectively a one with a ruler stuck on the side of it. And that is what you're going to get. You're going to get different sizes for each one. So if you just take one gap apart, you're going to get that. There's 2 gaps, 3 gaps, 4 gaps. They're spaced at roughly about an eighth of an inch each. So you can use that. Maybe you're going to do some quilting. Maybe you're just looking for kind of evenly spaced lines on a project. That is a really nice way to do it. What we've got next, we've got the overcast foot. Okay, this one brilliant for if you've got, maybe you've got quite a fray fabric, if that makes any sense, or a fabric that's quite kind of challenging, or you want to stabilise the edges. The overcast foot has got that little kind of toe in the centre. That's going to press down and hold down the edge of your fabric while you zigzag down it. And that's going to kind of hold everything flat for you while you're zigzagging, and it's going to stop it puckering in, because these are kind of really, you can see really nice flat sharp edges on both sides of this. So I've used different stitch sizes, but that's because the overcast foot is holding it down in place while you're stitching, because sometimes if you're stitching edges, I'm going to see if I can find the other example where it's kind of pulled in a bit. I don't think I have it. No, I don't. Okay, so if you don't have the overcast foot, what will happen is as you stitch zigzag left and right, it will kind of pull, it'll kind of want to pull those bits together. But because the overcast foot's got that piece of metal, that little toe holding it down in the middle, it's going to jump over that and it's going to stabilise those stitches and not kind of pull and shrink your fabric in as you go. Next one we've got is the 1/4 inch quilting guide and the 1/4 inch quilting foot. So both have the kind of same principle. They're both designed for quilting. So the 1/4 inch guide one, as you can see, has a little metal kind of extra bit on the side. And that will be 1/4 inch between the centre, that little small centre hole that you've got there, and this outer edge. That'll be 1/4 inch. So instead of just putting your fabric on and kind of using it as a bit of a guide, you can actually have that butt up against the sides of the fabric as you run it through, so you know you're always getting 1/4 inch. And then the next one, same principle, you've got your 1/4 inch foot. There's markings all the way down the side of this. On the top side is 1/4 inch apart. On the bottom side is an 1/8 of an inch apart. So especially if you're getting to corners and you're stopping and turning, you've got those marks there to know when you're stopping 1/4 inch before the edge, and then you'll know when to turn it. So on the bottom row, We have the cording foot. There's 3 different cording feet. There's this one, which takes embroidery threads. You've got the 5-hole and the 7-hole. So let me just grab those guys. That one is the 3-hole cording foot. So that one we've used with embroidery flosses. Now you will need a 3-stage zigzag for this. So that's the same stitch you'd use if you were putting elastic into something. Rather than just going left to right with its zigzag, it kind of stops a couple of times in the middle as it travels across. And what that'll do when you're using this is it will allow it to secure all of those threads. I do have a couple more examples of this one. There we go. So that one shows exactly the same principle with that 3-hole cording foot, but it means you can kind of, you know, do decorative things. You can go in spirals, you can go in circles, you can do more exciting, jazzy things with it. And then down this side, that's got the 5-hole and the 7-hole cords. I've used much finer threads on that, so you can actually kind of see what I have used. They are smaller thread holes. This one's really good if you've got that really, really beautiful metallic thread, which you cannot get your machine to get on with at all, but you want to use it and you want to add a decorative element with it. That is definitely the way to go, is use those guys. The 5-hole and the 7-hole cording foot. So then we've got the braiding foot. Ooh, where did I put that one? So many. Oh, I've got my fringe foot one ready. We'll do the fringe foot first because I've got that. Look at this bad boy. So what the fringe foot does is it's got a little almost like a blade in the center that's upright. And what that does is it loops the thread back and forth over it as it stitches, which creates this curly effect. Or if you don't want the curly effect, what you can do, I've got so many samples for this and I've just kind of piled them all up. If you don't want it to be that curly effect, you can actually split them and it will create that tufted effect there as well. So you've got options on that. Now both of these, I have used a little bit of stabilizer, just tearaway stabilizer on the back. And if I was going to put this in something that was going to be regularly used and washed, like we were talking about with Katrina's embroidery, then I would be putting a little bit of fusible interfacing or something on the back of there, just to make sure, belt and braces, that those stitches were really, really secure. Next one. Oh no, I've missed my braiding foot, didn't I? So the braiding foot has essentially got a big channel underneath the bottom of it, which means if you've got, that's my beading foot, but it's similar. We'll do beading and braiding together because it's a similar principle. There's a channel underneath, which means that you can pass either a trim or braid underneath of it. There's a beading foot as well, and that's just obviously, this is about the biggest you'll get through, which is about 4 or 5 mil bead. But what you can do is pass that underneath, and then just using, again, I've done black this time so you can't see it. Hey, well done me. You can stitch strings of beads on, you can stitch strings of braids on. So if you're wanting to do something quite decorative and go kind of round in fancy circles and swirls and things, you can absolutely do that. And it's much quicker than hand stitching them on one by one. But I mean, Katrina loves that, so that's fine. But if you don't want to do that and maybe you're wanting a trim to go all the way around something, all the way around the top of a bag or something, then stitching them on one by one is maybe not the way to go. But something like that beading foot will be absolutely perfect. So I've done, what was that? Oh, I know what it was. It's fine. It's the candle holder that holds the box up. So we've done beading foot, we've got satin stitch foot and open toe foot. So open toe foot, satin stitch foot. There for your, let's not take that one because it's already in there. This one, there you go. So any of your decorative stitches like this, where they're going to be quite bulky or there's a lot of needle movement left and right and you need to be able to see what you're doing, those ones are going to allow you to do that because it's either see-through and has quite a big channel underneath. So if you've got quite a bulky satin stitch like that, it's going to pass underneath the machine, underneath the foot and not get clogged up because it's got that little extra channel in. Or if you've got a lot of decorative stitches where they're going to go back and forth a lot, then that open toe one is brilliant because you'll be able to see exactly where you are going. So these kits come with a little foot. Oh, Sue's coming. I'm a little bit nervous.
No.
What do you need? Oh, have you got questions?
I've actually got one of those kits.
They're good.
They're superb. Okay, it's not for my machine because it has a bigger anchor, but it's great because they're all in one place.
Yes, they do. They come in. We originally had them in a plastic chocolate box.
Yes.
And we tried to get rid of the plastic and replace it with foam, which is much better because now they all kind of sit in there better. You will also get your adapter foot with this as well, which is what makes it kind of universal for just about any low shank machine. So anything kind of 80s onwards, generally, is a low shank machine. And this you will get as well. So it should be adaptable to any machine. If you have a machine that's older than that, then just get in contact with us. We do have high shank adapters as well. But this one generally comes with a low shank. But if you let us know, we can swap that out for you. And it also comes with, which I'm hoping I've got in my box. Yes, I do. Oh, I've done quite well today, considering the chaos that we had earlier. You're going to get one of these as well, which is a little guide. There's loads of space underneath every single foot to write down what the settings are that work best on your machine, because that is really important as well, because what we suggest in here may not be the stitch that works best for your particular machine, or if we're suggesting, say, a 3mm stitch length, but your machine works better with a 3.5 or a 2.7, then write it all down in there, and then you'll know next time you come back, because they're not ones you're going to maybe use every single day, but they're going to be project-specific ones.
They're things that you've got, so that if you need them.
Yes, and it's the right tool for the right job.
Yeah, I mean,
scenario,
I've had mine. I don't know, 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. But they're one of those that you'll always kind of drop back to because you think, oh, I've got something that will
That's
sort
right.
that.
That's exactly what I do.
Especially with your practical stitches, like the blind hem one is just such a winner. I mean, again, I've done that one. It's a small piece, but I've done it in quite a contrasting fabric. But if you did that with yellow stitches, it would be more or less invisible. But then on the back,
how many times you use the various feet.
Yeah.
Once you've got them.
And if you're a quilter, there's 3 or 4 there that are going to be so useful as well.
But no, I use mine. Not on this machine.
It's all right, you can stay. I'm quite cold, sorry.
You're cold, are you? Yeah.
It's the aircon. This doesn't happen when we do it from home. You can have the heat
No, you
as
have
high
the
as you
heating
like.
on, sit in your pyjamas.
We do.
Yeah.
It's like fine from the top and there's pyjama bottoms.
Yeah.
Katrina, are you good to go? Oh, well, we might just swap straight to you then, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I've got lots to show everybody still. So first thing, I'm just going to show you, I never got chance before. A lot of my designs have bees on them. So I'm just going to show you how to do a couple of bees. And it's useful just to, they're not difficult to do, but there's, because a lot of my designs are floral or gardens, then bees fit in really well. So I'm just going to get my hoop. So this is a 7-inch hoop that's useful. I use a 5-inch hoop. It comes as a set on the website. This is a design where I've got the bees in the top area there. So I'm just going to show you a couple of bees, and then hopefully we'll get on to a couple of other things. So the bees are made just by adding a couple of straight stitches in like a bar. They're probably 3 strands, sometimes 2 strands, and you're just going to take a little tiny bit, a fairly small stitch, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just bars of the black and the orange, just a couple of stitches, and then you just take the thread and you'll just fasten that off at the back. And then once you've done that, we're going to do the wings. So the wings, these are done, sometimes they're done in silver, sometimes in gold, but they're really, really easy to do. So this time that you bring the thread up from the back, got a knot on the end there, and then you're just going to take the needle almost into the same place, and you're just going to take the thread all the way down, and that's sort of the wings, and then just hold the wings, and then just bring the thread back up on the opposite side and then through. And so don't pull it all the way through because you want the bee's wings to show, and then just hold the threads as you fasten that off, and that's enough. It doesn't matter if they move, but they'll just hold just a couple of stitches, and that's enough to hold those in place. So you've got your bees there, and they can just, obviously you can have a whole swarm of bees there, or you know, that's up to you. You can have groups of 4 or groups of 5, uneven numbers if you can. Perfect. So, and the next thing I'm going to show you is I brought along a couple of different ideas, and I think framing your piece is quite important how you frame it, and a lot of the time we tend to use, for these particular designs, because they're designed as a circular design, we've got a hoop that will go over the top, and they're just pressed together. So once you've finished your design, you just take a little bit of time and just adjust that, and then you press that over the fabric, and that's going to keep that taut and in place. Take a little bit of time there to get it in position, and then you're going to lace the back with the thread, and I think that's probably one of the easiest ways to do that. So I'm just going to show you on this one. So this one is a 5-inch hoop. So this is a fairly new design, Candy Mountain foxgloves. So I've done my design and completed that, and I've just cut the corners off basically of the fabric, pressed the organza and pressed the hoop over the top, and then I'm just going to lace the design, and I've just used any thread. You're not going to see that, and I'm just going to take the thread, keep it fairly flat so that you're holding the hoop in place, and then you're just going to lace all the way across. Just take a little bit of time to get that going, about every ½ centimetre, just to get it in position. You can either work your way around and then go to the other side. It's worth taking your time over this, just to go all the way around and just hold those threads. Eventually you're going to, all the folds to appear, they're going to be stitched in place. So to start with, just so that you get it into your hoop and you can catch the organza in there. Now if you find that odd occasions, if you don't feel as though it's tight enough, then you can just put a backing fabric, just something, a fine fabric over there, and so it closes the gap between the two hoops, and that sometimes holds it in position better. So you're just going to take a couple of stitches and then restart. And it's worth taking your time that it hasn't moved as you've been going round. So you'll get a fairly taut fabric, and you can go, take your time, and that's quite important, that it's nice and flat and that you don't see any of the mess. So you could either just take a little bit of calico, or you could get some felt or any fabric from your stash of fabrics, and that just hides the back. So if you were hanging it against a window, you wouldn't see the light go or any of the texture at the back. So this is another way of doing that. So this, again, the hoops are 5-inch. They're on the website. They're really, really useful to do. So because some of the designs are specifically made for a circular design. Are you gonna ask something?
I've come to hover. I was being dead good though, because I wasn't interrupting you. I was being dead good. So there was a question before asking about if it was printed on the fabric or if it was a counted pattern. No, well, it was embroidery or cross stitch kind of thing. So it is embroidery.
It is embroidery.
And Sarah Jane also has said, is it printed on, or is it one she has to kind of trace on or count out?
It's all printed onto the fabric.
Perfect. And that's
for all of the designs. So just looking at, let me just show you this one here. So this is Buttercup Meadow. So this one, so you'll see there will be an outline on the fabric, and that's printed. It's screen printed on, so it's not going to wash off. It's just there as a guide.
by Ted's Fair Hands.
Yeah, we print all the fabrics. So, you know, that's something that I think it's good to have a starting point on the fabric. And this prints beautifully. Prints beautifully, this one. This is great. I really like it. It's good. It's good to do.
So, I mean, I think it just stops that kind of blank canvas syndrome, doesn't it?
I mean, it's like drawing on a piece of paper.
And the design is all kind of down to you then about what colours you want to
That's
wear.
right. I mean, there'll be instructions. I mean, this particular one, there are fabrics for the sky. There's organzas for the background.
Well, that's a
in
nice
the
shot one, that one,
foreground.
isn't it? It's got blue
And
going
it's a
one way and
blue.
green going the other.
And then we've got some hand-dyed muslin that goes, bit of bandage it is, that's what it is.
Is that what Ted calls it? A bit of bandage.
Bit of bandage. So that's just to add texture. And then this particular kit has a lot of different, some satins as well. So the flowers are sort of 3D. So you can make the background is quite important. So this is a different way of framing, so that, you know, you can buy a standard frame. You know, if anything in a anywhere can do picture frames at reasonable prices.
Yes.
So it's
I mean,
a
there's this
standard,
big Swedish shop.
there's an aperture is a standard size. So wherever you know
I think
you want
that's
to
the harder bit to get, isn't it? Sometimes the mounts
if it's
are
well, it
more...
depends. I mean, that's good to look for that if you can get one. And I see, I don't like glass in it. But if you're putting
I think it hides the texture of it, doesn't it?
But if you buy one that does have glass in, you can just put a spacer in the frame so it doesn't squash the embroidery, so it doesn't go all the way down.
Got it.
So that's...
I do need to remind people that we are finishing at 4-ish today. Number of reasons. One, we're a man down. Gail's got some family commitments that she needed. So she is coming next week, so it is all good, but we are a man down. And also, the Newcastle match as well.
well,
Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, so nobody will be watching us past then anyway.
No.
So yeah, we're only going till 4 today. So is there anything else that you...
No, I'm just going to show these. I'm just going to show a little bit, because these ones are a little bit different. So these are a card kit. So we've got about 38 different designs of these sets. There's loads of them. I just think it's a really nice way of working.
Deciding to make new ones, or is this Ted cracking the whip?
Well, this probably, yeah. So we need more. Come on.
No, I get that as well.
So the idea is that it's on one piece of fabric.
Okay.
So you've got each design with an outline that's printed on the fabric, and this fabric is new. It's called pistachio.
So would you stitch them all, then cut them out?
So stitch them on all before. I would definitely do that. I mean, I haven't got one. I mean, I just love the colours there, but I'll show you how it comes packaged, because everything's in the kit. So whichever Rowandean kit you have, you'll find that the fabrics are in there, and you've just got all the fabrics, all the organzas, all the beads, and then the little bits of organza there to stitch with.
There's loads in there, isn't there?
You've got the cards, everything's in there, but the thing is, you've also got the fabric. So the fabric is enough room to get your 5-inch hoop into each individual design, and then cut them out. You could put them on cards, you could put on a quilt.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just thinking. They'd be nice as kind of little cornerstones on a quilt.
So once once you've got the once you've stitched it, then you can decide where you want to place it. But the fun bit is the stitching.
Remember, not all quilts are designed to go on beds. Some of them are. I mean, that would maybe not put that on a table runner, because if you've got gravy on that, you're never getting it out. But maybe the ones that are wall hangings, or that are more decorative ones, it doesn't always necessarily...
Fabric sculpture type thing.
Absolutely.
You could do that. So it's a great way of working, in that the projects are very quick.
Yes.
So you've done one, and there are a few French knots, you know, and then you can go on to the next project. So it's a nice way of working as well.
Is the reason you wouldn't cut them out is just so you can get your hoop
just
in more
so that
easily?
you can get the hoop,
Right,
yeah.
got
Because
it.
if you cut too far, the fabric's big,
And
so
you'd need
you are
a
making it as a
super
picture.
tiny
yeah.
hoop to be
Yeah,
able to
no,
get
well, we do a 3.5-inch hoop. That's on the website too. But I think the most versatile one really is the 5-inch and the 7-inch, and really, you know, you can have a lot of fun with those, and they've got a little handmade. We'd love that.
So you're like, I did that.
Yes, yes. If you're giving
did
it for a
that.
gift, you know, then that's a nice way of working.
Perfect. So Sue, are you ready for Sue part 2?
Yes.
Perfect. She's on her way to her machine.
Right.
Are you ready?
Now.
And remember, it's number 2 this time.
Yeah.
Got
I
it.
can't find my zipper foot. I think it's a home. Well, I hope it is.
I've got a few over there.
Will it fit my machine?
I'll go and find out.
Right.
I'll go and find out.
All right. While we're waiting for that, what I'm going to do is show you how to do zip tabs, because it's very handy to have them. I mean, sometimes you're sewing something and you need a 12 or 13-inch zip, and you've only got your zips an inch shorter. So what you can do is extend the zip, which also removes the bulk with your seams, by adding tabs. Now what you do, I have actually just stitched the end of the zip because that makes it easier. So right, what we need to do, we get 2 oblongs, fold over the edge, and then you place your zip, you find the centre point to make it easy. Place your zip in, and I like to do it facing so I can see exactly what's happening. Fold that over. Now you can go to the edge, just pop a pin in or a clip, whichever is your preference, and just pin it into.
I don't know if it'll be high enough.
No, I don't think it's high enough.
It might be. Well, I'll leave it with you.
Yeah.
If you need it, you've got it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's have a look. Thank you. Let me just see, undo this. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I can show you how to use it without. We've done the first bit without a zip, so right. So you'll pin it. Now what you're going, because you've got the zip tabs are encased. So what you need to do is just sew along here. So just make sure that that's lined up nicely. Pin it in. I suppose it would help if I turned it the other side, wouldn't it? So I'm not pinning it to the ironing board. Just give yourself a little bit of a space. I tend to give myself about 1/4 inch or 1 centimetre. So just pop that in there, and then we're just going to sew along the edge. And as I said, this extends the length of your zip, which is great. So I'm just sewing on the edge. Let's remove the pin. Right along the edge, and then that's nicely encased. Just give it a quick trim. I should have put the whoops. Oh, it's coming over.
Just while you're ironing
Okay.
or picking things up off the
Off
floor.
the floor.
There's a question about what type of scissors are you using? These
Oh,
ones here,
right.
because they're
Do you know-
quite jazzy, because they're
I
a
get
funny
asked
shape.
about these scissors all the time. They're what's called duckbill. So if I hold them like that, you see the shape, and then you'll see they actually curve. Now what you can do with these, they're great if you're doing embroidery or if you're doing applique, because you can lay them down, go along the fat and snip, and the bottom, the bill, protects your fabric.
There you go.
Also, you can use the curve when you're cutting. If I just cut along here.
Oh, don't cut that bit
That's
off.
all
I'll
right.
get you
It's only a piece of scrap.
Hang on.
Bit of scrap.
Is that what that'll
Yeah,
do?
that's scrap.
Okay.
So what you can do then is just go along. If I've got two together and I wanted to just trim off that, that will go underneath.
Oh, and protect
and the
your
bill
fabric underneath.
protects the fabric underneath. It doesn't cut.
Ah.
But they're called duck bill.
Do you have them on your website?
No, I've actually, I did something for the WI the other evening, and people wanted them, so I've ordered
probably
them.
should.
I've ordered them, but I haven't got them yet. But because I haven't got them, I can't put them on the website.
Right. Okay. So if you do want them, Sue's website is just down below
That's
there,
right.
or you can hit that QR code which is over there.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for those. I'm just sure you'll post on social media when you've got
I
them in,
will
won't
do,
you?
yes.
Perfect.
So, but they're called duck bill, and since I've had them, I use them so much.
It's a favourite pair now.
Yeah, they are. They are. Because they're so handy. You know, like that bit of cotton, you just press it down and cut.
And you're not risking getting
you're not
because
risking
sometimes when you've
cutting-
got really pointy, sharp edges on,
That's
you're
right.
kind of risking going
They're super.
into the fabric.
And I can sharpen them.
Is that on your website?
That is on
there
my
you
website.
go. We
That
knew
is
we'd
on
find
my
something.
website. Now that's great. In fact, you can do all sorts of scissors. These are just an ordinary pair. Hold it down, push the scissors right through, and then just drag it back. Through, and drag it back. And they are, I haven't bought a new pair of scissors since I bought this. You know, anyway, so we've done that. And then what we need to do is the other end. It's exactly the same. Find the centre. Now, just remember, you've got the metal tab. So you want to be a little bit below that. Now, you'll see why I put the stitch here, because it just holds the two tab ends firmly. So just pop that on, fold it over, and then again, we're just going to stitch. Where's my, can't find my donkey, that'll do. Now, the reason I say a donkey is because you can sew on that, which gives your foot something to hold on to. So then, fold that in, fold it across, and again, you just sew straight across. So you've extended the zip quite considerably. I mean, that zip, the zip itself is an 8-inch zip, but because I've put the extenders on, I can fit that in to something that's 15 inches wide. Just depends how deep it is. What you do then is, with your tab ends, run it round, you just put it down, line it up, and then you just cut the waist off. So again, just lay it on the top, matching the end of the tab straight through. Then when you're sewing and you're inserting it into anything, right side down, find the centre, excuse me, pin your zip in, pin the zip, again on the other end, and then put your lining. Oh, I will show you as well something. Might not work because I haven't got the zipper foot. We'll try. Pop your lining on the top, matching the sides up, and then you can sew the zip in Let's just find that pin. It really is, it's so easy to extend a zip and reduces the bulk in the corners. And what I've done on the pouch, we've got the extension, so you haven't got the bulkiness. So right, we'll try again with the zip. So again, you would just sew the zip in as, yeah, I was putting my foot on the extension plug, didn't work. Sew the zip in.
It's all good. It's all good.
That's what happens when you've got them close together. So we go along. So we've sewn the zip in. And all I've got to do now is line that up, cut the edges off. And that's as easy as it is, but when I turn this round, you'll see that I've got an extra inch on the zip. So I've turned that 8-inch zip into a 10-inch. Superb. And also, when you're sewing it, when you'd be joining the other piece of fabric, we'll use this one, you would end up with something like that. So it's nice and neat and tidy. You've got a nice edge on the top and all that bulk has gone. Plus the fact you don't run the risk of sewing over the metal ends.
So I'm assuming it's also going to be easier to sew when you come to sew
It is,
the
because
whole
you've got
thing round,
nothing-
because there's nothing
That's
bulky in
right.
the way.
You don't have to worry about the metal bits. Nothing's in the way. You can, because when you've got your zip in, you would then put lining and wrong side together, and then you could just sew straight down.
So is that one for
Yes, that
this bag?
is in this bag. So you'll see you've got a nice little end here. I don't know whether the camera can quite pick that up.
Oh, Chris will get it.
Rather than you've got the zip end right on the end
Yeah, if you
here.
just hold that steady for a second, then and just turn it.
If I just move the zip a bit,
Yeah.
you can just see
That's it. Turn it
And
towards
then-
that one
how easy it is.
and stay still. Perfect.
And you know, it reduces a lot of bulk. There's the other end. And of course, I haven't had to worry about going over the metal ends of the zip and breaking needles.
So this one here, which you've got, which is
Yes.
the two-tone one with the
Two-tone.
cork,
Uses this.
uses that same thing.
Yes.
But I'm assuming, would you get the zip in first and then add the cork, or would you add the cork first and then add the zip?
Well, what I've done with this is I've added the cork because you've got the main fabric and the cork, and then you've got the wadding.
Yeah.
So I've got a
Do you want me to
piece of
grab that?
wadding here and a bit of cork.
There you go.
What I did, and what you'll do on the pattern, is you'll maybe, let's just...
So do you make that
Just sew-
section first and then do the zip?
Yes.
Or do you do the
No,
zip
you make the section
on the fabric
first.
first?
Let's get the extension
Shall
out of the way.
Yeah, let's give you that
Right, thank you.
where
So,
you need it. There.
right, so, I mean, obviously you do the right seam allowance. So you join the main fabric to the cork. Now, you do not iron cork. Do not iron it. What I tend to do, I've put an extra double layer of wadding, and on the wrong side, just a gentle iron.
Because
If it's creased.
the cork is kind of attached to a fabric
That's
backing
right,
kind of
yes,
thing. So
that's
it's a
it.
very, very thin layer
So
of cork, and that's what you don't want to risk
When
with
you're
your iron.
making this, you've got your fabric, which I've attached. You fold it back and finger press it then you'll have the
batting,
batting
the wadding,
or
yep.
the wadding cut to size. You then will place that on, and then what I do, just so that it doesn't move, put a few pins in the fabric.
So can you pin through the cork, or is that going to leave holes
but
like
it might leave little
plastic?
holes.
Okay.
It has got a canvas backing, so you could. But if I was doing it, I would do it on the edge.
Right.
And then what you do?
So if you did want to pin it where the seam allowance would be.
Yes, where the seam allowance would be. So what you've got then, that's the bottom. Let's make it look something like. I know.
So willy-nilly with the rotary cutter.
Oh, but my hands aren't in the way. My hands are out of the way. So that is the top, right? So what I've done, I folded it back, so the cork is at the top, and then finger press, and then, now you can sew on cork. It's very, very nice and friendly. And
you left quite a big, like probably about what, half an inch-ish of cork?
You can do a 1/4 inch.
You could do less.
Quite easily.
Right.
I've just done this for speed so that
I
you can
didn't
see
know
it.
if you needed that little bit more
No.
because of the type of fabric that you were working
No, you
with there.
don't. So then all you do is you top stitch.
And top stitching is one of those things that I don't think we do enough of.
No, we
Because
don't.
we get lazy and we look for the quickest option possible. But top stitching does add such a kind of nice finished
If you
look to
look at
everything.
any bags that are made professionally, you go into a store, you buy leather bags or fabric bags, you'll always find top stitching.
Yeah.
It finishes off. If you've got a plain, I mean, I did that one with white purely
So you could see it.
so that you could see it. But what I could have done is I could have done that in like a biscuity colour so it would have matched. In which case, your top stitching, you always do 2 sizes bigger. So if you're sewing normally, my machine automatically goes to a 2.4 stitch length. Now, Hayley will tell you I've done 2.8
Yes,
for top stitching.
I can verify that.
So that is how you would do it.
Yeah, I would say for a top stitch, probably somewhere between 2.8 and 3.2
Yes,
is where you want to
dependent
be.
on
You
the
want it to be a
fabric.
bit bigger,
Yeah.
and yes, it depends on the fabric that you're using as well.
Then you sew the zip in to the top here. So you'd have that like that. And the reason it's done that way is because it's easy. It's nice and firm. Your wadding will hold everything in place as well. Now, with your duckbill scissors, I just want to show you something. How I use them with wadding. Because sometimes I do something and the wadding can be, if the fabric's thick, that seam can end up being very thick. So I've got the seam.
Oh, willy-nilly with the rotary
It's
cutter
all right,
again.
my hands are out the way. Look, my hands are out the way.
No rulers, that's just...
So that would be my seam allowance where I've stitched. Now, that's quite bulky. So all I do, I fold that back on the seam, get my duckbill scissors, and I'll have to do it this way, and just keep them, they're flat.
So you will have to keep an eye out for those scissors going onto Sue's website.
And look how neat that is.
She hasn't got them right this second, but they are ordered.
They will
and
be.
They're
They're
on their
on
way
order. They. Well, I don't know when they should be here. Maybe sometime this week. But that is how I trim, because on a lot of patterns I do say trim off the excess wadding.
Or if you're doing quilt as you go,
Quilt
as
as you
well,
go.
you might not want
They
all of
are
that extra wadding
absolutely
there.
superb. Now, you saw how quick I did it with those. Now, if you're doing it with an ordinary pair of scissors, what you'd have...
Willy-nilly with your rotary cutter.
No, not the rotary cutter this time. You'd be sort of having to watch it all the time.
Because those pointy ends do get
And
kind of
that's
trapped
it.
in the...
They get caught in the wadding and the fabrics when you're cutting, particularly if you've got a couple of layers.
Yeah.
You know, and the more take it off. Where the duck bill, you just lay them flat. As I said, since I bought these, I don't use any small scissors now.
They're the go-to scissors.
They are.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, what we'll, if you just want to kind of finish up, if there's anything else that you need to mention, and then we are going to go back and join Katrina, because it's nearly home time.
Nearly home time.
Yeah.
What I will mention is you'll see on the website the tool.
I'll see you in a second. I shall head back to
Now
Katrina.
that, you think, oh, right, but let me show you. Pinking shears in the back. In the middle, those scissors. In the front, make sure the blade's safe. Rotary cutter.
We know how willy-nilly you are with your
Yeah.
rotary cutter.
And then in the middle, you've also got a smaller pocket. Scissors. You can just pop that down. And that is safe. All your scissors are protected because the ends of scissors get damaged. Your scissors, your rotary cutter is in there and it's safe. It's not going to go anywhere. You can all use it as well if you've got some of the smaller rulers. You can drop the rulers in. But I tend to use it for scissors.
Bring it with you and come and join us over here.
I did a show, just pick that up. As I said,
Come and join us.
I did a show the other evening, a demonstration for ladies, and I took this with me. Rather than take my big sewing box, I just took that. Got all my scissors that I needed, got my
Perfect.
rotary cutter.
You still make me nervous with that. You still make me nervous. It's because I've cut myself so many times.
I've only ever cut myself touch wood once.
Just whizzing with it.
I always make sure my hands are well and truly out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what size the ruler. Yeah.
Right, so we'll do a quick, tiny recap because I know we've got to be 3 minutes gone very short. It's a minute each. There you go. So go on then, Katrina. What would you say is the star from the ones? There's loads more. I mean, there's loads more behind me here as well. And they're all beautiful to do. Well, definitely hop onto the Rowandean website and have a proper mooch about.
The picture that you love. The
Okay.
website is full of lots of lovely designs and, you know, very, very similar stitches. So go for the project that you just love the colours, you love the texture, and go for it.
And I know you use kind of set few stitches in most of them. So are there tutorials and stuff online for all of them?
They're on YouTube, and basically we only use about 5 stitches.
Perfect.
And that's it.
Perfect.
So easy.
And Sue, what's your kind of standout one that you want to remind people of today?
Well, I like my go-to bag, and I will be using this tomorrow. I will definitely be using it tomorrow.
You have such a selection, though, to choose from.
And it has comfort handles.
Okay.
So you've not got a thick, and then that gets all scrunched up. It's a go-to handle, which is very easy to make. You just fold it over and stitch across the top. If you want to, you could actually thread a very thin pipe in, and then just...
like a cord through it.
Or a cord, and then just stitch on the end so it stays in the middle.
Perfect.
Very good.
I'll tell you what I'm going to send you as well. We've got some pre-cut 2.5-inch wadding strips, which would be perfect for them. So I don't think I've got one with me, but I will send you one because I think they'll be absolutely perfect for those.
But at the end of the day, look at the patterns, look at the kits.
If you can't work it out, give her a ring.
That's right. You know, I do not want anybody to start making something. Oh, I've got stuck. Throw it away.
Okay.
No. Ring me.
And what?
Or email me.
Yeah, Sue is available most of the time.
Yes.
Not before 7, not after
Sensible
10.
times.
Sensible times, ring Sue. What I didn't get to, because I did kind of go through the explanations on all of those 32, the big set of feet. There are 2 smaller sets as well, which have most of the ones that I kind of showed you there. Some of them have got like extra ones like buttonhole feet and things like that. So you can see there's a lot of the ones that I mentioned in there. There's zipper feet, there's Teflon feet, there's blind hem feet, there's roller foot in there. There's also the button foot. I love the button foot. I don't think people use that one enough. where it
No,
just
I
goes
very
zigzag to
rarely
put the buttons
use
in.
mine.
Love that.
And it's like a Teflon foot.
Also, the flower foot. This looks mega scary. We do have a little video for this one online somewhere, and this one produces the cutest little designs on this, and you can do all sorts of flowers using all of those kind of zigzag stitches, the blind hem
Wow.
stitches, all of that's already on your machine. You'll be able to create these little kind of flowers with. I did mean to do that today. I might bring it back for next week because I am back for next week. But we will say goodbye because I'm trying to get out on time. And we will see you next week. We've got Endless Threads, we've got White Gecko. We'll all be back here on Secret Sewing Club.